Oh, I haven't seen the opera and in like the morning, or it was just blocked last time. I'm assuming that's the oratrix. It wasn't. It was blocked by the curtain previously.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing.
I do have some thoughts, but let's take things step by step.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lyney and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
Yeah, it didn't go well.
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed.
It'll be a very cool plot twist if it turns out that Farina was the one behind all this. She just makes it. Huh. But it doesn't sound likely though.
That
Never
was to
mind.
be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Just you with Alexander.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the
Wait.
trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session.
Since both parties present. Okay, now let's see.
Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Lyney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Then it closely reveals the
Thank
detail
you,
of the
Mr.
magic
Lyney.
trick.
In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lyney is clearly lying.
I do have a feeling that he did lie here for some reason. But Farina is clearly judging without any is baseless
There is
judging.
no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
What?
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
Okay, so he didn't hear the thought?
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh, yeah, that is right. Okay. Farina is making sense now.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, how could he?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
just mean...
They probably represent the oratory some stance on the trial.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye.
Okay.
Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid.
Is it really? You were just judging baselessly. The first time, at least. But now you just seem like you're collecting evidence based on it.
Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
That's the Alagino one, I believe.
The House of the Hearth?
They're Fatui.
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
Fatui have that bad of a of the what is it? Not respect, but perceive. What is it called again? I forgot. Reputation. Ah, yeah. The Fatui have that bad of a reputation. Everyone just
I've got a
agree with
feeling
it.
that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Ooh, why the tone change though? That's scary.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute.
Whew, nice transition. You're getting pretty cool with the transition here.
Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy.
What is he, Sakura or something?
Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Lyney, why didn't you tell us this before?
Lyney and Lynette are Fatui? Fatui? Fatui. Fatui.
Order! Order! Mr. Lyney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
There's no doubt about a magician's ability to con others, given how Lyney has concealed his identity. This could have been set up beforehand. Plus, Child is here in Fontaine along with the other house operative. There must be some sick scheme at work here. I do think there's some operative going here with the Fontaine as you with the Snayan people, the Fatui, as usual with every Archon quest. But I don't think Child has anything to do with it. It's gonna be Mr. Worldwide. I've been a victim of such schemes before, and now.
Please answer my question, Mr. Lyney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Objection. Permission to speak, Your Honor. Huh, what does Traveler have here?
Granted.
My client has withheld some key information. My defense cannot proceed.
In that
Oh.
case, What is your request?
I request a brief adjournment. There are things that must be discussed.
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
My client. And I need to stop remembering Hamilton so much.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
This is the first trial of a brand new nation. Defendant deceived their own attorney. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Lyney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought.
Well, we don't have a degree in
In that
law.
case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Okay, the backside is definitely prettier. The glowing and stuff. While court is adjourned, you meet with Lyney and Ned backstage. Backstage? Backstage. Huh.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up.
Why is it a problem though?
I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, why do you even wait? It is, I mean, why do you keep it a secret?
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Vitui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
That's true, but the House of Heart is kind of messed up at some point, judging from the other quests.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face.
Okay.
I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends.
Why does the identity even matter? They're bringing it up like it's a bad, like you have to be a bad guy if you're from the House of Heart. I mean, aren't you? Oh wait. Wasn't House of Heart was like raising chill orphan to be a soldier? Soldier? If that, then I guess it makes sense. Then, huh.
That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
But how can we know this isn't all just another lie?
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too.
Huh. Do we... He said it makes it even more sus here. You're not doing a good job to entrust in giving me trust here. Okay, sorry for the pause.
But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
So you were in some kind of sketchy stuff. That's not very convincing here.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but
Explain the other issue first. Where did you actually go while the trick was being performed?
right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course, I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
Huh. Would you even be able to get near it?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
Huh, so it was some kind of spy mission. That's cool, but yeah, we cannot disclose this either. This is difficult. We cannot tell the fact that Lyney is kind of spying on them. That would be pretty even more bad. But it's not. That's a very it's a very fair argument, I guess. That they weren't there.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Yeah, and what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
But why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operates?
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
What does that have to do with you being a Fatui?
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
I believe in the facts. Let's go. Facts don't care about your feeling, Traveler. That's definitely what Traveler said. I will defend you from these charges. I believe that judgment will be dispensed as it should. So, yeah, Traveler will be neutral, even though, well, we're on their side.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence in it.
Huh?
The journey's almost over. Let's go back.
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
What? Linus claims that he headed to the chamber containing the Oratrice core upon entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place and thus did not hear the thud. Lyney claims to have heard the mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the Oratrice core within the Opera House. Huh. Would it be possible that the artist was some kind of a person? They just did this so it can harvest more power? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 80% sure that there's someone else doing this. And I'm like 40% sure it's Arlecchino from the trailer at least. But I don't have any single idea of the motives behind. Like, why would she kidnap people? Why would she
Both
need
parties
any
have returned to their positions.
for that?
Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Lyney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Lyney's perspective.
There it is, the objection post from Ace Attorney. Classic. Based on the opposition's accounts of events, you can identify loopholes in their statement. Use evidence and clue obtained during the investigation to refute any erroneous assertion of fact and replace them with new inferences. Use your refutation to convince the audience to obtain more support from the people. The orators will display such shifts clearly. When you find and refute all incorrect content, you can complete the cycle of refutation and unveil the truth. Begin refutation. Lyney's action.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound.
No, I don't believe that. That's probably wrong. That doesn't make sense.
Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her.
That one, possibly, but not Lyney. I believe there's someone else.
At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Lyney red-handed.
That does make sense.
So Lyney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Lyney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident.
No. That doesn't make sense. If Lyney did that, if the Cowell's one was an accident,
And there you have it. That's
they wouldn't
the
have-
truth behind what happened.
they wouldn't have prepared the whole falling thing, the water box falling.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Lyney experienced, and what he saw.
Okay, let's go one by one. Lyney entered the tunnel and the countdown began. Identify loopholes. Lyney claims that he added to the chamber containing Beatrice Corban entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place. No one left the opera house during the magic show, and after the incident happened, only those who had the errands clear. The voice in the orator's court chamber. Lyney claims to have heard the mysterious voice within the chamber. Within the opera house grand structures. Yeah, if it's still... Oh wait, no. Oh yeah. No one left. So if Lyney was still there, that means the person should still be with Lyney.
Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal.
What? The one I did make sense though, right? if the Lyneys didn't leave the opera house, the victim would still be there with Lyney somewhere. The clothes belonging to Halsey were missing were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Lyney must be very confused when he saw them. Strange sound during the magic show. During the switching performance, Horrible Tom. This maybe? No, either. Okay. Is it the same? Oh yeah, it is the same. So I just have to not this one. Okay, the thud sound did not hear the thud. Okay. Oh, it's just the one with the blue one. We did not witness the crime taking place. Okay, here.
According to Lyney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
Lyney knocked Halsey out using the face fast and removed her clothes to prevent her from being identified. However, was Lyney really in the tunnel at all the time? Listen.
Lyney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
Lyney knocked Cowell out. Cowell walked in on Lyney, so they later knocked him out with the face. Here, the young lady's clothes, yeah.
Lyney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say!
Okay, Paimon.
When the countdown started, Lyney did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
Let's go, Paimon. Should have been Ether, the one saying it here. They Ether voice actors, Zach Aguilar, already have not that many voice line, and they're still cutting it down. I wonder why.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
Yes, Paimon, you get to be a lawyer once.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
Moreover, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
The unstitched equipment was clearly tampered within a premeditated fashion. Oh yeah, sorry, it was the thing I was talking about earlier. Yeah, the rope was already made to be pre-burned, but Cowell happened to be by chance, meeting them.
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill?
Huh, yeah.
Assuming that what you say is true, Lyney only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Let's see the orators.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
Do you happen to remember how you refuted Lyney's alibi initially?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Your claim must now become my weapon. Your claim also become a critical clue. Just reasonable, which evidence that Lyney was in the tunnel when the crime took place. Relevant? Okay, yeah. Tunnel fan. This? Is it these three? I don't think. This then?
That's right! Lyney wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lyney had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become
Okay,
the
that's
best
cute.
proof! How do you like that?
Chill down, Paimon.
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lyney who committed the crimes, then who was it?
I don't know, but could be someone else, but that doesn't mean Lyney was the person, just because we don't have any other suspect. The murder was... Select the gears icon to interface to check the corresponding case question. Select answers and fill all the empty gears to verify the correctness of your deduction. If you have made mistakes, you must make another selection from the remaining options. Once you have answered all the questions correctly, you can complete this logic chain. Okay, this is very complicated already. How did the culprit trigger the onstage accident? The guard's investigation report indicated that the firework released near the end of the show ignited and burned through the ropes spanning the water tank above the stage. This caused the water tank to fall and kill Kyle in the box below. Doesn't sound likely though. The pyrotechnics was like on the front of the stage, so it would need some pyro power to like ignite the rope from somewhere that isn't there. Which, if Arlecchino has pyro vision or delusion, whichever is fine, which make her the suspect, but she hasn't showed up anywhere, nor did they have any mention of it. This caused the water tank to get low. If Lyney is no longer in suspicion, the only member of the troupe would have been able to tamper with the props. Lynette then? Lyney gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work. By using a box inside a box, the idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath, and Lyney himself would also be this tunnel to get to the other side. Having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant would take charge of one-stage interaction. The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Wait, I didn't read the question. Oh, okay. I was just reading the text. Our original plan for the performance. What evidence is there that the selected audience member was involved in the incident? The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Who was the only person who could possibly have committed the crime? Cowell, Halsey, and...
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's a third person. Incorrect? What?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Huh? What? But this is correct? But he's dead. What?
Huh? That can't be right.
Yeah, are you
Are you
serious?
The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Cowell's plan and the situation inside the tunnel. How can we envisage Lyney and having been unable to interfere with the crime?
No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Yeah, but why would he though?
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Maybe, yeah. But the person is still missing. If Cowell end up being dead, then where is she now?
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lyney as well. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract.
Ah, okay.
It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lyney as well.
Okay, so I need to make the question here to make a hypothesis. That's cool. It is a cool mechanic. I like it. How can we envisage Lyney as having been unable to interfere with the crime? Okay, that should be.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment.
This is definitely it. How can I prove that there was an altercation in the tunnel?
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would the criminal have? The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lyney as... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The deceased's name is...
I'm not sure what
The
to pick
sound
here.
we heard may have come from a clash between the...
The sound, maybe? Okay, last one. Who is the prime suspect currently?
The
Cowell?
deceased's name is
Where did the missing Halsey go?
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. It would have been tough for both people.
This? The clothing
Halsey's
thing?
clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention.
But I don't get that though. Wait. Okay, let's continue. Oh, okay, so what? The criminals must have understood the method behind Lyney's magic trick and must have been in a position to easily modify the equipment. Leaving aside how he died, Cowell had all the means to commit the crime at his disposal. The strange noise could likely have been the sound of Cowell and Ashley struggling. Lyney was not in town for 1 minute. This would have given the time for Cowell to bring Halsey out of the magic box in the audience stand. But according to Guard's testimony, no one entered or left the opera house, so even if he had taken her, there'd be no means of exiting. Exiting from the box would have been in full view of the audience, pretty much guaranteeing that they would be discovered.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Yeah, where in the world did Halsey go?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
I don't get that.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Magic escaping from the water tank. Oh, the face had water in it. Could it be possible it was the same? Possible the same? Yeah, the same.
Excuse my
technique.
interruption, dear opponents. But do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold on a second.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Yeah, the
The
face.
vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
The water? But how it did work though?
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
I request that we examine Cowell's personal effects. We might find something here.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Lyney already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about 2 completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Why would guilty need to stall the trial?
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress.
Impasse? What is that? Huh. Is that a word? Impasse. Isn't that Indonesian's word? Wait, does that word come from French? That would be pretty cool if it is. I believe Indonesian evidence may help us make more progress.
Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty.
Huh. That is weird though. So, the victim was dissolved into water? Is that like the prophecy?
The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Lyney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Cowell's gadget seems to have the ability to dissolve Fontanians into water. That's weird. Is it like that certain liquids in Nile that can dissolve corpses? Who's the prime suspect currently?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
What item did the culprit use to control the timing of the dissolution?
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have... I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism.
Is it used to track the box maybe?
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant. The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box.
What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime?
The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she... I remember there was something else with...
This? Oh, okay, nice.
Ahem. It's Ace
Back again.
It's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box.
Okay, when the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box.
When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Okay, here he goes, getting in the way here.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Lyney's personal effects.
What?
That can't be.
Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you.
What? But okay, this must have been what is it called again? Like they made for that to place there to fake evidence.
Does this not clear all doubt?
I don't know the term for it, but hopefully you get what I mean.
My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
Begin repetition.
Lyney did not
Offense.
need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Lyney desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization.
Okay, this is bad. That makes sense a lot. How would I even refute it?
Am I right, Mr. Lyney?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no. Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lyney, if you would be so kind.
Mr. Dialog, what?
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lyney and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But, as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
Okay, let's see what she got.
I understand.
And voila.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
What? Why is she here? Huh? That doesn't make sense. What?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial.
Huh.
I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
Okay, so it wasn't a murder case at all? It was just an accident?
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
What? This is certainly unexpected. But okay, let's go.
What? Why?
Let's go with that, sure.
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Lyney's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lyney was the one who caught me in the act.
Oh, oh. That's everything makes sense now. She was the girl from stealing the first time we got to the harbor.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief.
It's been so long that I forgot that that was even a thing that I need to remember.
Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
If they practice hand at concealment, professional thief. Okay, so a thief could do that. That would make sense, yeah.
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's time to review the Hydra and previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily Ann's perspective.
Okay, Lyney entered. Cowell planned to use the prepared trick apparatus for the magic trick to dissolve Halsey inside the magic book, as Halsey has appeared completely unharmed before all of our eyes. Furina's conjectures no longer holds water, and how would Halsey have reacted when she water began from his sea suddenly began to trickle in? Uh-huh. Ah, okay, so he just changed clothes because it was wet?
Seems
okay, never mind. When is it again? Here? Not this then? Okay, it seems like not this one. In fighting between Lyney and Cowell, Lyney wanted to call credit and Glory wanted to get rid of all his partner, but Halsey has appeared completely unharmed before our eyes, proving that the fight I'm confused here. This? Okay, I'm just gonna try everything.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during the struggle between Lily Ann and Cowell.
Okay, yeah, so what I'm getting here, Cowell did wanna try kidnap Halsey, but she like defeated and fought Cowell and then end up shoving him there. Then he knocked Cowell out after the fight. Then what? As Halsey has appeared completely on her before, all right. After the fight, then what did Halsey do? Okay.
Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
Okay. There's more. On stage, the meticulous design magic prop activated, causing the water tank to crash down. Okay, not that definitely. Okay. Then it's this number. Aha. This.
The
What?
strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time!
Okay.
Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard.
Okay, so the thought was her kicking the box out, and then Halsey was there, and not Halsey, Cowell was there, was trying to kidnap her, and then breaking the fast. And then
Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket.
oh, okay, so the water thing was can only dissolve Fontainians, can only dissolve Fontainians. Right. That's Halsey was not from Fontaine, she's from Mondstadt. Oh, okay, now everything makes sense.
Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the opera house these last 2 days.
How did no one saw her, and not how did she escape? Just be there for like 2 days without
She
eating.
had already become desperately hungry by the
Ah,
time we
okay.
were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
Oh, the thing that disappeared, the macarons.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
Yeah, so is she like ashamed about it?
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Well, for me, admitting wrong is the biggest sign of dignity.
Wow! Look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
Okay, Paimon.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowl, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowl thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowl entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Lyney, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Lyney, the accused, is in fact innocent.
Nice. But Navia kinda did everything.
While
here.
there is much in Lyney and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
Oh, that's cool.
As such, Lyney and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Nice. Okay.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's not celebrate just yet.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Lyney's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Lyney, but you, yes?
Oh.
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Lyney, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration.
So like a drug?
We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
What? Huh? He turned into water?
And now he can no longer talk.
What?
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
How did the water get him though? A part of the liquid left behind after falling this fall. How did that happen though?
So, we're just going back now?
The problem seems to have been solved for now. We're not hidden here anymore.
True.
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Lyney.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
I just didn't wish to see anyone be falsely accused.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Lyney this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story?
Okay, let's go. More lore. So the Knave is Arlecchino, of course.
Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever.
This is very sad.
An aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was.
Wait, the Knave?
After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
What? That's messed up.
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
Feelings. So what happened after that?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the Knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
That's all in the past, though. The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
Wait, so isn't that a good thing?
She believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland.
Okay, wait, so the knave isn't Arlecchino? Or I'm just confused here.
To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's in the good here. I still can completely trash you.
It's alright, I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Lyney.
I understand. Goodbye.
Bye, Lyney!
Okay, that's all very interesting. So the Lyney was an orphan. Lyney and Lynette was an orphan. Looked at someone performing magic trick, and then they did it themselves, and then become popular, and then got adopted by some nobles who end up wanting to do end up betraying them. And then once she got there, or the knave, I'm not sure if that's two different person. I don't think. Yeah. And then was like killing all of them to rescue everyone. That seems like a good thing to do. And then yeah, they were following ever since. They're following him ever since then. And what else? Following him ever since. And Arlecchino is planning to stole the Gnosis to deal with the prophecy that Fontaine will dissolve into water. But what are the chances that the Arlecchino is actually good?
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
Well, I'm sorry, Navia.
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
I was really only trying to defend Lyney. I wasn't necessarily looking into the serial disappearance cases.
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah. I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer.
That's nice, but
Sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
that would be
You
nice.
really did treat.
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Well, if you say so, let's go have them.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, count Paimon in.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
All right then, let's have our farewell meal.
Whew, that was a pretty crazy first chapter of an Archon quest. That was a lot of stuff. Whew. To process. Okay, so we're on to Act 2, and then we should be able to do the other. Not that, but we should be able to do the other story quest here. Oh, okay. So we need to do the Act 2 first.